Scurrying to the dressing room to get the replacement. Not the ideal beginning for a player who lives on his nerves. But it's the World Cup, it's Wembley, it is what it's all about. A 10-game test to be passed to reach the 1994 finals. The first examination now against Norway, sure to be a stern one. Graham Taylor, including 4 players from the semi-final side of Italy. Stuart Pearce, Des Walker, David Platt and Paul Gascoigne, of course. But of the 7 others, only Tony Adams briefly has played in the World Cup before. Even Chris Woods, a regular on the bench behind Peter Shilton, is involved on the pitch in the game's greatest competition for the first time. The side is somewhat structured to suit Gascoigne and his lack of match fitness. Andy Gray.
Yes, I honestly believe that England will line up in that formation. I think they'll ask David Batty to protect the 2 centre-backs in that holding position. I would fully expect Lee Dixon and Stuart Pearce to bomb forward at every possible occasion, as they won't really be needed back there, as I fully expect Norway just to play one up front.
Ian Wright and Alan Shearer. A strike force to test this Norwegian side. And they are very relieved that Rune Bradseth survived a rigorous workout this morning, vital for his leadership as well as his defensive strength. This the same 11 which produced that famous victory over Holland. An English angle, of course, in Tottenham's Erik Torsvedt and Gunnar Halle of Oldham. Just one out-and-out forward we expect, Joran Sørloth, whose 14 international goals include that winner against the Dutch.
Yeah, one change as well tactically, you're right, Martin, from the team against the Dutch. Number 11, Jakobsen, who played up front with Sørloth against the Dutch, will be asked, I'm sure, to play on that left-hand side, play with 4 at the back, as opposed to the normal 3, bringing in number 5, Bjornaby.
Well, FIFA are adopting a worldwide policy to help standardise refereeing. Arturo Bricio Carter comes from Mexico City. I'm sure it will be of no influence tonight, but the Carter part of his name can be traced to grandparents who hailed originally from Liverpool.
They get everywhere, those Scousers, don't they? They really do.
Well, Paul Gascoigne, the Pied Piper to the fans throughout the land. He's shown again the unhappy knack of putting both feet in it off the pitch, but when those feet make contact with a football, he's in his natural surroundings. The bigger the occasion, the better he likes it. Norway to kick off then, against the 1990 semi-finalists who set off on the greatest adventure the game can offer, the route towards universal recognition that only the World Cup can bring. The pitch has been slicked by some rain in the last hour or so. Gascoigne has pushed right up into the Norwegian half, just behind the 2 front men, and he's obviously got freedom to roam and rove, and you would expect Shearer and Wright to do likewise. And England looking for the fast start here that can unnerve even the most confident opposition, and certainly Norway come into that category. Played 3, won 3, and doing serious damage to the Dutch in Oslo. There's Joran Sørloth, who scored that decisive goal at the expense of the Dutch.
Looking quickly at the England line-up, Martin, early on, it is fair to say that Paul Gascoigne looks like he's just been given licence to go wherever he likes, with Paul Ince, David Batty and David Platt operating in a narrow midfield. And I just feel that for England to capitalise on the width, where I think the Norwegians are suspect, that Stuart Pearce and Lee Dixon, there's a big onus on them tonight to get forward.
Bjornaby pressed by Shearer. Norway with no real tradition. They've never reached the World Cup finals or indeed the European Championship decisive stages. But their current coach, Egil Olsen, has brought about a remarkable rise in their fortunes. It's Bjornaby with the throw. And Undoubtedly the senior players lifted for Norway by the experiences at Peterborough last night of the under-21s, who got their first win over England at that particular level and deserved it. Here's Pearce. Adams. Chance to re-establish himself, rebuild an England career that seemed to have ended with 19 caps in the past. He's only played twice under Graham Taylor, both to do specific jobs against the Republic of Ireland. Pearce. Now Dixon. Picked up off little Mickland. Roger Nielsen got away with that challenge.
I think what they're saying early on, the Norwegians, they look quite happy to me to play four at the back against England's two, and that does give licence for anyone spare to get forward and join in.
Walker, who's been settling in Italy in a defence that hasn't been the strongest. Sampdoria have conceded 8 goals in the 4 league games that Walker's played in. Here's Wright, and it's Platt for England. Just couldn't reach it.
But a real boost of confidence, isn't it, from an England point of view? The 3 people you would expect to open them up, the 2 front men combined, very, very well. Lovely little diagonal run, and great awareness from Ian Wright, and that's what David Platt's on the side for. But the conditions just rob him of the chance.
But wasn't that typical David Platt? And although Gascoigne, we talked about the freedom for him, Platt has other responsibilities in the middle of the pitch, but, well, I don't think he'll be too rationed in his arrival in those areas.
I think, as I say, I think only David the one who's asked to be more disciplined than any of the others.
Well, Woods went for a ball, I'm sure it would have been a goal kick. It flicked off the head of Surlott as he jumped with Adams. Maybe it was simply the willingness to keep the game going that got to the England goalkeeper then. To set a pace here, it's always been part of the theme of Graham Taylor's teams. To play the match at a quick tempo, forward pass if possible. That's not to say just to thump it forward, but to take the game to the opposition. Bradsett, whose fitness overall must still be in some question. And how ironic that Norway might be troubled by a player operating in a game played at the weekend. England, for once, have the luxury of 6 days together.
Just looking at Paul Gascoigne, he wants to get involved in everything. He's actually playing up front in a 3 up front situation at times.
There's Gunnar Halle of Oldham Athletic, who's had some success against Pearson club football this season, and did well against England's captain here.
Just a little warning, wasn't it, to Stuart Pearce? I know at Oldham, Mark, were very keen to get Gunnar Halle in a recent game at Boundary Park, playing against Stuart Pearce. And I think the scoreline that day, the score that day, Gunnar Halle had a big part in that game. So Stuart Pearce will remember it. I'm sure the Norwegian bosses remembered it as well.
Surlott. Right. And the ball goes the way of England. The linesmen, incidentally, both come from Spain. And as I said at the start, we have a Mexican referee, just as we did in the climax to the Cup in Rome. Nielsen launched himself towards the ball, but went bumping into Shearer before he got to it, and it's a free kick to England.
I tell you what, why don't Stuart Pearce just have a dip from here, you know? Early on in the game, goalkeepers hardly touched the ball, slippy conditions.
And of course he's beaten Torsvedt here at Wembley before at the other end of the ground. Adams back and tried to steer it with a little too much angle as it turned out. And others were moving into the goal area.
super ball from Gascoigne, wasn't it? Great vision.
Pearce. Gascoigne, his mere presence improving the attendance here, which won't be the biggest that Wembley has had for a major match, but never bigger than it would have been if his name hadn't been all over the papers this morning and on Graham Taylor's team sheet when it was announced yesterday.
I think it is important that he plays well from England's point of view, but for me it's just as important that the front two, Ian Wright and Alan Shearer, get it together and are vibrant and alive and are very competitive, because that...
It's Batty's ball, trying to get it over the top of Norway. Shearer, well met by Bratzett. That's the type of contribution they were so anxious to have tonight, Norway.
What are we saying there, man? If the front two click for England, that would be more important, I think, than Paul Gascoigne playing well. Ray Wilkins was right when he said earlier, I think with all the hype, people might tend to expect too much from Paul, but that man in the picture, Alan Shearer and Ian Wright, are bang on form. We know what to expect, and we should expect something like that tonight from them.
The Shearer start could hardly have been more spectacular with Blackburn Rovers. He scored in his last 6 games for his club, 9 goals over that period. Ian Wright not too far. And here's his Arsenal colleague Lee Dixon getting the ball to Gascoigne, but he couldn't return the compliment. That has to be called a foul throw. It slipped. It's greasy, as I say, with the rain that's really only been coming down in the last hour or so. And Lee Dixon was in too much of a hurry then. Well, that's good news for Wales. Mark Hughes got the goal early in the second half.
And that's not the kind of areas we really want to see David Platt operating in tonight. We're only really Gore and Sorlot up front for the Danes. They want to be pushing, and I'm sure I saw Tony Ashton players forward. He doesn't want extra players back there. Him and Des Walker are quite capable of dealing with Gore and Sorlot. So it's important that they push as many men forward as they can, England.
Nielsen's header for Norway. Here's Platt. Ince coming into the middle. Oh, and it was met so sweetly by Shearer, but it flew straight at the goalkeeper, too sweetly perhaps.
Well, that's the areas we do want David Platt working in, isn't it? Up in the opponent's last third. Great little ball from Gascoigne there, and he's clear. Pulls a great ball back here. And the man in form, Alan Shearer, can do no more than that. It's a very powerful header, but Eric Torsford's very happy to see it come straight at him.
And what was also looking good for England, 3 players attacking the cross. Ince and Wright were there as well. When you talk about the expectations that England have for Gascoigne, they're not really diminishing his approach to the game. He has the capacity to rise to the occasion. Gascoigne with the golden touch. He started well. Paul Ince playing for England for just the 2nd time. Adams joined by Ince and Wright. Shearer is there by the near post. Gascoigne will take the corner. Shearer got to it. Wright came in. England had so many players there, it seemed just a matter of who would put it over the line. It's now gone over that line behind for a goal kick.
Well, I think Tony Adams will wonder why on earth he hasn't put England ahead there. Yeah, shaking his head. He doesn't normally miss from that type of range. They bypass the front post here, looking for Alan Shearer, who's peeled away, and it's him that gets the header in there, keeps it in. Tony Adams is up, trying to knock it square instead of going for goal, and Ian Wright just can't get there.
And it was Ingebrigtsen who was playing them onside. That's a flick from Platt, met by Bratzett. Adams. Wright couldn't pull the ball down. Eric Torsvett kicking it away there. He's had one or two problems this season with the back pass lure. I suppose all goalkeepers have had that. Oh, and it's off Bratzett. Right. Had a golden moment for him, but I'm afraid he'll look back on it with a bit of disappointment.
Well, you have to put it down as a chance, don't you? A striker of Ian Wright's capabilities would have been expected to do better there.
But it was confusion as the ball bounced off Bratzett. And Wright, well, there was the chance to turn that dream into reality. Platt trying to prevent the pass from Mikland. Two involved again here, and Mikland releasing it, but not at the time that suited Sørloth and Jakobsen, who were working hard to make a forward position, but had just lost their concentration for an instant.
They've got a good pace to the game, this England side at the moment, Martin. They've just got to keep it going. You do feel that something will drop their way. Every time they get into that last third, the conditions aren't making it easy for defending, to be honest, but the Norwegians have looked nervous to me at times.
And this was
Here's
the
the example, yeah, of him getting mixed up. It drops very nicely for him and completely misses it to Ian Wright. He knows it was a chance.
Dixon's ball, not deep enough. Norway here before, on one occasion in 1980, beaten 4-0. The players came with their cameras to get snapshots for the family albums. It was a tourist trip. Of course, they tried hard in the game, but they didn't expect a great deal. They didn't get anything. But this is a different kettle of fish. This Norwegian team, bound together by the organisation of Egil Olsen, the coach, an eccentric character in many ways. Right. Well, he can head it back that way. Just, if it was much lower, it might have been counting as manifest, which could have meant a yellow card for Nielsen and an indirect free kick for England. But the referee taking a sensible view of it. Well, we talked about the opening 20 minutes, Andy, and they've nearly been completed. And although England have shown plenty of promise, it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's a first big milestone if you're in the Norwegian camp. 20 minutes, will have said, if we're 0-0 at 20 minutes, we can go from there. Tapping for me from England to suggest that their confidence should be high. They won't be too disappointed that they haven't scored, because they've created 2 or 3 good openings. All they've got to do is keep going at them, because they really don't look secure at the back, the Norwegians.
It's another attacking wave here with Platt. Anyway, down to 10 men. And that might suit England. Oh, and Wright is offside. He's missed the target in any case. It was deflected across to him. The flag went up. He does have this eagerness to please that sometimes seems to put too much tension into him, Ian Wright.
Yeah, I think you can see they're definitely offside. But what's promising, I think, is an area where I thought Norway might be weak, and that's wide. Is that David Platt on 2 or 3 occasions already in the first 20 minutes has got himself free on that outside left, inside left position, wide of the back 4, and really has caused a problem when he's got the ball.
31 goals for Arsenal in 40 league appearances, Ian Wright. That's a wonderful record that's really forced him back into the England side.
They're struggling here, Martin. They're calling for a stretcher. Look, Tom, and his players don't often, when they go up and come down like that, they don't often stay down unless they've had a nasty blow.
He's in the header there with Alan Shearer.
There honestly didn't seem to be any contact in the air. I just wondered if when he landed, it just winded him a bit.
Well, he's up, it's Pedersen. Doesn't need the stretcher, but he's got to sort it out off the pitch.
And they're stripping off the substitute anyway. He's taking his tracksuit off. I just wonder if they've they've decided already, listen, it's too big a game to risk you being groggy if you're playing another back four.
Well, the logical replacement is Henning Berg, who was on standby to play instead of Bratset.
Well, they'll be hoping now that nothing happens to Rune Bratset. Otherwise, they could have some problems.
It's only Berg's 4th international appearance. He played in the summer against Scotland. Björneby. Jakobsen. So looking at Adams rather than at the ball. Adams wasn't distracted. It was Rekdal who got a foot to it. Ince. From Shearer, David Batty is with aggression with that bristling haircut.
But that's unlucky, but that I feel is the areas I've got to try and exploit. Lee Dixon, for me, doing the right thing there, looking to get forward and in behind the Norwegians.
Egil Olsen having supervised the substitution. Lee Dixon was taken off at half-time in Spain to give David Bardsley an opportunity. I think the feeling in the England camp is that Rob Jones, if he can get fit again, and he's played a reserve game this week, I understand, for Liverpool, has the opportunity to be England's first-choice right-back. But Graham Taylor knows what Lee Dixon can do. The medical bulletin on Pedersen, problems with his nose and with his teeth. And Berg, his replacement. Gascoigne lofting it with accuracy. He's up in support as well, and he gets a free kick. A little bit of showboating with Gunnar Haller.
Well, it's still there, isn't it?
Gascoigne will take it. England massing on the edge of the goal area.
And these are situations that I know going to what's awfully hard on the training pitch. Any free kick from this type of area. Just watch the movement in that box.
20 minutes to go in the first half. And delays. So Posse in the middle, move again. And it drops for Dixon. Walker, everyone but Woods was in the Norwegian half, but the ball quickly out of it.
Defended up well, the Norwegians. They're not easy to defend when you put as many people as England do into that 6-yard line.
Norway 6 internationals unbeaten. Denmark, the last team to them back in April. It's a 1-0 away defeat. No disgrace in that after what happened
I think only one defeat in 11 internationals as well, Martin, isn't it? I mean, that is a good record for any international side.
Shearer. An indication of the firmness of the pitch. And begins to get the better of Jakobsen in the air. This Woods wasting no time in kicking it, and it was a wise decision because Sørloth was going to try and close him down if he elected to have the second touch. Everything that Gascoigne does provokes a reaction one way or the other. This time it's from the referee, and it's a yellow card for Haller.
I think he committed the first foul about a couple of minutes ago on Paul Gascoigne. I think it was unfortunate. I don't think it was a particularly bad foul. No affection there from Paul Gascoigne, but I think committing 2 such fouls in quick succession.
The referee of sarcasm.
Oh, definitely.
Pearce with the free kick then. Right, trying to get under it, and he does. Shearer was also attracted to the ball, thinking that maybe Ian Wright wouldn't make it. Of course, he's got goals in this famous stadium before, for Palace in the FA Cup final, in the Zenith Data Systems final as well. Just looks a little more nervous, and that's understandable, playing for his country, but those nerves have got to be conquered in front of goal.
I don't think missing the chance would have helped him early on, Martin, but he's just going to settle down. The things that have been good enough to get him into this England side will be good enough to keep him there, if he just believes in himself.
Shearer. Right up the ground very quickly. It's arriving on the scene as well, making it difficult for Björneby, whose clearance only reached David Batty. Shearer. That's very cleverly done indeed. Batty. And Wright couldn't attack the ball. Torsvet was looking anxious. It was a cross deep and dropping away from the goalkeeper. Lovely play between Shearer and Batty. Jakobsen coming through the middle. It comes off Walker. Pearce trying to overpower Joran Sørloth. And now the referee steps in again, but not initially to produce a card, but to give a free kick to Norway. Sometimes when one player from one side has been booked, it's a natural reaction for the referee to feel that he's got to follow suit.
Well, they're getting ambitious, Norway, because 2 against 2 at the back. If England win this quickly, they could be really on.
Came off Haller, and it's a goal kick. Well, from the team that played in Spain, Mark Wright carried the can for the defensive shortcomings. David White, Nigel Clough and Andy Sinton also omitted. And the replacements, Tony, David Batty, Gascoigne of course, and Ian Wright. Norway able to pull on a more settled approach. It hasn't given them total comfort here, they wouldn't have expected that. As the minutes tick by, of course, the question of Gascoigne's lack of match fitness comes into play. I must say that talking to him, he would love to go the full distance here, so we shouldn't be Graham Taylor's thinking. It obviously will be judged in the context of how the overall match is going. It's trying to channel it to Gascoigne there. Here's Platt.
I think if Paul Gascoigne's as fit as everyone says, there is no reason in a game like tonight that we can't go the distance, because really his defensive duties will be limited. He won't be asked to do an awful lot, purely and simply because England will have enough men, I feel, to cope with any attack that Norway throw at them.
Quickly then to get to the free kick. The ball at his feet. It's in a danger to Norway. Dixon's cross. Gascoigne's really become a talisman for England in the World Cup. The last time he played in the competition, of course, the tears in Turin. Offside against Wright. Not by much. Midland, not much of him, but he's a very busy midfield player. This is Björneby, and that's rocketed into the outside of the goal.
Well, he's got a tremendous left foot stick, Björneby, and England really went to sleep after they conceded the free kick. Norway were very alive, and he's not frightened to hit them from here. I think give Chris Woods credit. I think on target, I think Chris Woods would be saving this.
Björneby hasn't been included in the matches against San Marino. They've opted for extra attackers, but he contribute to the offensive side of Norway's play, coming from his duties on the left-hand side of the defence. Dixon. Nielsen at the back of Shearer. The ball went with them. Batty. who last played for England, of course, as a right-back against Sweden. Much happier to be in his natural habitat of midfield. Ingebrigtsen. Accurate ball from the captain's wrong foot up to right. England half hoped for a free kick then. They didn't see it that way. Here's Mikland. Begg. Looking towards Sørloth, who is the type of player who can screen the ball with his back to the goal. They call him the Norwegian Mark Hughes. And let me just remind you that the real Mark Hughes has given Wales a valuable win in Cyprus today.
They look happier now, the Norwegians, Martin. They've settled after that 20-minute non-stop, but the pressure from England, when they really went at the Norwegians, they just settled and look a little bit more happier. And I think now this is the time when England have got to be patient. They've got to put some passes together, try and stretch the Norwegian back four a little bit, and not make any mistakes at the back.
Sørloth. The free kick given against Dixon. England started here on a wave of confidence, plenty of warmth for them in the stadium. But the longer it goes on without a breakthrough, in the last 9 internationals, the morale not at its highest. And Norway now have a chance to draw first blood. Ingebrigtsen is there, Sørloth. And the left-footed Nielsen. It's Ingebrigtsen, and Chris Woods pulls it out of the air in the nick of time.
Good height for him though, this is, Chris Woods. Nice height for him to take.
It was well hit, and the reason it didn't produce a goal, really, it wasn't quite hit hard enough. Certainly the direction was good, just skimming the hair of the players in the wall. But Woods, remember, making his World Cup debut. Although it's his 36th international, he's had to wait a long time.
Yeah, he's been patient, hasn't he?
A header from Jakobsen and then Sørloth. Jakobsen again. But as soon as England get the ball, Norway take up their shape. It's very much this way in the under-21 game last night.
Well, the number 8 Rekdal does a good job for the Norwegians. He's the one that prompts the play. Someone said he was like the Norwegian Ray Wilkins. In many respects he is. And as soon as they lose the ball, he gets straight back. He has a look round, sees where Paul Gascoigne is, and he heads off into his area, because Paul's the one who's normally the spare one.
Batty. Ince. Gascoigne allowed to turn. Opts to take another turn. Finds a handball. Not given, perhaps because England had the ball in any case. Norway come out with that strong line of midfield players again, and they support Sørloth. It was aimed for Haller, but Adams saw it coming. Oh, Mick very nearly won it back when England might have been caught having to turn. Instead, Batty ploughs on. Shearer is moving to the right, but perhaps not quite quickly enough to give Batty the right angle. In any case, England get the free kick.
It's exactly what he was looking for. A little bit of width on the right-hand side. There was none there for David Batty.
Good work from Pearce. Not so from Wright's attempted cross. But he got into the wide position. Graham Taylor saying, when questioned about the absence of natural wingers, that it is a team responsibility to use the full width of the pitch. Offside, too far forward is Shearer.
Yeah, and I think England have definitely got to be patient now. I think the Norwegians will be quite happy. Any straight ball down the middle, and I think people like Roger Nilsson and Rune Bratseth and Henning Berg are quite happy to deal with that sort of ball.
But given this selection tonight, it is quite ironic that the guest of honour is Sir Stanley Matthews. But, as it has been pointed out over the last 24 hours often enough, remember 1966 and the so-called wingless wonders. Batty.
There's a booking, I think, yeah.
It's for Ince. David Platt becoming the senior citizen to try and calm down a much younger, in terms of international experience, teammate. Ince at times can be reckless, and it was an ill-judged tackle, even though in the end he hauled in the ball. Both feet flailing.
He certainly picked a team of competitors, as Graham Taylor, hasn't he? I look at this side, I see people like Tony Adams, Stuart Pearce, Paul Ince, David Batty, Paul Gascoigne, even Alan Shearer and Ian Wright. Every one of them real competitors and have a real desire to succeed.
Yes, tenacity and tigerishness are words that came to mind when the England midfield was announced to support Paul Gascoigne.
I'm not so sure how bad that injury is. I don't think it's a tackle. He seems to have a knock on the side of his head there, so I honestly think he'll be up and about and get in.
For Ingebrigtsen. Well, I think he's picked the wrong fella. It was not Ian Wright. It was Paul Ince who brought him down.
I don't think you'd really be too impressed with that little show. He's had plenty of them in his life as well. You're right, he's picked the wrong person.
Well, if there's something wrong with you, the message is to go off from the referee. Have another look at the incident. As Ingebrigtsen fell, was the foot in there from Batty as well? That
I think he just falls against the back of his heel, doesn't
yes. And that's certainly looked like boot to right eye, or right eye to boot.
With half-time approaching though, Norway won't be too keen to be sitting there with 10 men.
Bjørneby, put out by Dixon. Well, I'm sure Norway were prepared here for the physical of tonight's game. Talking to players in the camp, they expected perhaps England to hit more longer balls than they have done into the heart of their defending. Ingebrigtsen is back with us. Throw from Bjørneby.
Big time in the game, we're just reaching the 40th minute mark now. If England could snatch one, I mean, what a boost that would be going in at half-time. But if the Norwegians can hang out, then you can certainly see their confidence will get a real shot in the arm in the 15-minute half-time break.
Well, this is one way, perhaps, to find a route to goal. It's a corner conceded by Bradseth from some distance. Up comes Adams with 4 goals already for his country, which is double the amount that Gascoigne's got in fewer games.
Amazing, isn't it?
Gascoigne will take the corner. Jumping, but doing so unfairly.
It's fascinating watching the set pieces, Mark, it really is, because there's such good movement from the England players, and the Norwegian players have obviously been very well disciplined in their marking jobs. They're making it really hard for England players to lose them.
Ince beating Mikland. Looking for David Platt, who is the only England player to score 6 internationals. 4 goals for him in that run. He stayed in the centre as well as Ince is on the ball again. Right. It's a lovely chip for Ince. Here's Platt. And, well, he could have teed it back for Ince, but Platt characteristically looking for the goal himself, and it was a fine try.
Oh, and a great little move from England. It's all on this ball from Ian Wright. That's a lovely little tuck in, you're right, he could be looking for it to knock it back, but not David Platt, he's looking. And again, Eric Torsfet right behind it. Look at this, super little ball in, lovely knock across the goal. 3 touches, that's great play.
Well, Gary Lineker lost now to the international arena, but David Platt's penalty area power is there. And England looking as though they might lean heavily on it again in this match. Haller for Selot. He has to do this type of work in the way that Norway play it. Here comes Björneby, already one terrific hit at goal from him. And now as he's sent tumbling by Ian Wright. It's a free kick, what, 2 yards outside the penalty area. And Nielsen addressing the ball. Ingebrigtsen takes it, and well, the game stopped for a second then, as though the players were waiting for the referee to call a halt. Good header by Pearce, the clearance completed by Shearer.
Well, what I think happened is he was trying to get the wall back and hadn't blown his whistle, and I think they took a quick free kick, and everybody just stood around.
No goals here. The other World Cup qualifiers of particular relevance, so no goals so far, but Wales have won in Cyprus. Two minutes left in the first half, and a little bit of stoppage time on top of that with the injury to Pedersen.
Quite a bit of stoppage, won't there, Mark? There's been one or two lengthy stops.
But having defended quite deeply in the first 20 minutes and somewhat nervously, Norway have got into their stride. Egil Olsen will be pleased about that. He's got a gambler's instincts, a great poker player, they say. That'd be a great quality for managers to have. Over Sørloth. Wilkinson putting the ball back towards where it had. Sørloth again. Bratzek has stayed forward. Deflects Kamangeli for Shearer. England breaking. Gascoigne to the left. Wright trying to make an angle to the right of Shearer. Dixon with the early cross, and the Torsvet able to command the situation there. And a yellow card for Gascoigne for not really going for the ball.
You see it here, I mean, this is food and drink for the goalkeeper. And you see Paul there, just having a little go there at Roger Nielsen, and the referee's right on the spot to see that. Just a little bit of frustration, I would imagine.
Well, it's not what you want to see from the country's most gifted individual, the elbow being brandished there. But genius sometimes goes hand in hand with instability. Chris Woods having to worry a little more than he would have liked to get the ball away.
I just wonder as we approach half-time, Martin, if it goes 0-0, if we go on 0-0, will Graham Taylor try and change it? Will he try and alter it this early in the game? Will he try and look for a little bit of wood? He has Paul Merson and John Salako on the bench, and it must be something that is going through his mind.
Will he judge the half on the first 20 minutes or the last 20 minutes?
Well, I don't think in a particular part, but they had any real great width.
Adams off his head, so although it looked an awkward situation.
It's good defending that, Martin, though, from Tony Adams. I think he felt he knew he had to run that ball.
It could have been a foul either way. In fact, it's been given in Bratzek's favour. Well, we could have 2 or 3 minutes of time to be added on. But the referee settles for one, which is surprising given the substitution of Pedersen that's took its time. Gascoigne has a yellow card to his name after his first half for England for 20 months. England started brightly, Ince also booked there as well, but that brightness didn't produce a goal. Norway got stronger after that. We'll have the views of two England greats of the past, Glenn Hoddle and Ray Wilkins. That'll be to the break.
Let's have a look at one or two of those England chances in the first half. Here they come. Ray Wilkins and Glenn Hoddle, our guests. Glenn, Alan Shearer here.
Yeah, it's a little bit, Gaz is picking up a lot of room in that position, playing off there, not really picking him up for man. He's found Bloody out there. And he's made a good run. I mean, if that goes in, you say that is a good goal. I don't think that was a hell of a great chance, but he's got in there, his body weight's going forward, he's made a diving header, and at the end of the day, if that goes in the corner, you say, what a hell of a goal.
What about this one, Ray?
Yeah, it's a good corner, good header back from Alan Shearer. We were a bit puzzled why Tony Adams didn't go for goal, but even so, when it's come across, I thought Ian Wright might have done a little bit better on the far post.
And this I mean, a bit of a mess in its creation, but a good chance here for Ian Wright.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix-up here between the two Norwegian defenders, but Wrighty really has got to keep his eye on the ball and just try and tuck that away. He's tried to hit it with his instep, and I felt there, really, if he kept a cool head like he might have done playing for Arsenal and just, you know, side-footed it, and kept a better contact on the ball rather than going to blast it.
OK, well, we'll take another break, give us a chance maybe to talk a little bit more back here at Wembley in a moment or so. No goals at half-time. We'll be back.
Our reporter in the tunnel, Nick Collins, has had a word with Paul Gascoigne at half-time, and the message is that he's really enjoying the freedom that Graham Taylor's given him in this particular system. He obviously feels that if he was 100% fit, he would be able to use it to greater advantage, but he expects to go on and be an influence in the game.
I think the one thing Glenn Oldham mentioned there, he said he would like to see him drop a bit deeper at times. I think at times, one thing he's done wrong for me, he's played almost as a front man, up alongside Alan Shearer and Ian Wright. And his strengths really are him going and getting the ball and turning and running at people or picking out passes. And just at times he's tended to be too anxious, too keen I suppose, in his enthusiasm to get forward, too far upfield.
So, 45 minutes to go. Norway, who have moved up the world football ladder from the ranks of the minnows, a country with a population, what, the 12th the size of England, with players who predominantly have to go abroad like so many Scandinavian nations to ply their trade. But after a rather tentative beginning, when they rode and were grateful that England couldn't maximise the opportunities that came their way, Norway certainly finished the half much more together. It's not in their nature to take the game too much, home or away to the opposition, when the opposition are of reasonable calibre. Will make San Marino the exception to that.
I was just thinking, I don't think it was such a bad thing if the Norwegians got a bit of confidence and started to put one or two men forward. It might just allow England a little bit of space for them to exploit.
Here's Platt. Well, it was the type of forward ball that perhaps Graham Taylor would have instructed his midfield men to play. Alan Shearer that time couldn't take up a position to reach it from Platt. One thing Andy and I were talking about at half-time that Norway have done particularly well, Gunnar Halle knowing all about Stuart Pearce. Pearce hasn't been able to get any of those buccaneering runs going down. Halle's kept him in his sights. Here's Adams.
I mean, if I honestly had Stuart Pearce on my side, Mark, I'd be screaming for him to get forward. When England have the ball, I wouldn't be worried about where Gunnar Halle is or what he's going to do. You see these marauding runs that Stuart makes when he plays for Nottingham Forest, and I just don't see enough of them in an England jersey, and I'd love to see him do that, because he'd frighten the life out of the Norwegians, as he does many English club sides.
Rekdal. There are signs on the far side of the ground that John Solako is limbering up. Graham Taylor and Phil Neal perhaps debating that very subject, when to make a change, if a change is. Certainly would be a rethink if Norway get a goal, and they've got a free kick right on the edge of the D.
In an area where they have the firepower as well to trouble Chris Woods, if they connect with one.
Minnie Jakobsen, who never stops talking, is a real personality player. He really does epitomise the bounce in the Norwegian psyche.
Certainly beyond the line in this up, looks like it might fancy this, but they have many options there, the Norwegians.
Ingebrigtsen, we've seen before at set pieces in the first half. Sørloth as well. Dixon, 4 players.
I think Mason showed us a glimpse of that shooting power against San Marino, didn't he?
But it's Bienabe, well blocked by Dixon, who contributes a second time. England out. And it's Gascoigne who's dragged Bratsep across. And it comes off Norway's captain to Batty. Gascoigne again, trying to slide it through to Shearer. Ingebrigtsen, who ran over the ball before the free kick was struck, wouldn't have expected to be back in that corner of the pitch quite as quickly. England came out with pace and menace.
But the Norway side didn't half get back well in numbers as well. Showed a great desire to get back and try and hold England. Managed to do that. Just held up Paul Gascoigne enough for the rest of the team to get back in there.
Well, that's a vital match in this group, and that's a very interesting score with Poland flexing their muscles.
Still in quite the section.
Shearer, on right, it's skipped away in front of him. There's no failing on Wright's part on that. Just couldn't get there quickly enough.
Yeah, great early ball. He knows that as a striker. You all played in early, in between the space, between the back four or the defenders and your goalkeeper. Alan Shearer produced that cross. The conditions didn't help Ian Wright. As soon as it hit the ground, it skidded away from him.
Adams for the most part taking Sørloth and judging Torstvedt's clearance well then. Ingebrigtsen, Rekdal, who's a holding player in midfield, organising the others around him. Back in his club side in Belgium, he plays much more forward. Across from Berg, skewing out off Tony Adams. Shot from Rekdal, and it was a fine try. Just reacting, anticipating almost where the ball might come out of the England penalty area.
Great example for young players this was, of actually watching the ball onto your foot. And this is difficult, it's a skiddy surface. Look at the way he watches it, gets his knee over it, but just can't keep it down.
Well, he was a 20-goal man in Belgian football last season. But as I was saying just prior to that, his role for his country is just to sit in the middle of midfield, push others on. Forward too quickly from Platt. Bienabe. Bounced off the right way for England, but reacted quickly. Dixon came in and gave away the free kick. It's a long road, this qualifying group. Bigger groups for the World Cup this time. More countries in Europe to have the right to try and reach the 1994 World Cup finals. Walker in difficulties against Haller. Gascoigne.
I think there are priorities for England tonight. I think all English supporters would want their team to play well and give a good footballing performance, but the most important thing from them is definitely a result. I mean, they just can't afford to lose again. And I think any victory, no matter how they achieve it, will go a long way to giving them confidence for the next game.
Here's Batty. Now Pearce. Norway holding the line on the edge of the area. And Wright quickly challenged by Berg. The crowd trying to play their part. And the England players will be grateful for that. Gascoigne can lift them all sky high. Ince tries to steer it beyond Torstvedt. Doesn't get many goals, but the ones that he does get are usually memorable.
But again, it's all about Gascoigne, wasn't it? When in an area where many players would be looking just to cross it in from there. Great piece of skill, spots Paul Ince. His first touch let him down slightly. Took it on his left side instead of his right and was only able just to screw it wide.
Wright doing well to involve Pearce again. Good advantage played by the referee, and Wright was flattened. And Pearce in the end has to settle for the throw. Wright's picking himself up, and Gascoigne is picking England up. It's David Batty's shot.
Well, that's the message, isn't it? Get the ball to Paul Gascoigne in a one-on-one situation. Look at him, urging the fans, come on. Perhaps he knows he hasn't got an awful lot of time left in this game, Martin, because he certainly started the second if he means business.
And England are getting their shots towards goal, but not in the goal. First inch, Ben Batty, Gascoigne at the heart of both attacks that carried much greater weight. Platt. Batty again. Now Dixon. It sounds like Wembley now. Crowd of just over 50,000. It would have been a lot less if Gascoigne hadn't been picked. We all know that. But he's not just here for the box office. He's here to get on the ball. Free kick to England. Not Gascoigne's responsibility this time. He joins those in the centre. Now Pearce. Was the wall close enough? Was it indeed handball? Whatever happens, Pearce is going to get another try, and Gascoigne says take it from where the ball hit the wall. The referee may not agree with that, is he? Yes, he's bringing it in. Well, it was handball.
Slightly nearer Stuart Pearce range, isn't it? That 2 or 3 yards. I did see him score a corker against Coventry in a cup tie a couple of seasons ago from this sort of range.
Well, he'll be more interested in shooting perhaps now. Here comes the captain. Goal! David Platt applied the touch. England's World Cup campaign is underway at Wembley.
And a Stuart Pearce special that opened the door for them, wasn't it? He'll be a relieved man. But that's a free kick Platt knows all about. Look at the way he goes in the near post. Just a touch is enough. It's drilled for goal, there's no doubt. But the touch was needed because Torsvett had it covered otherwise.
David Platt seeks out the scoring position again. England 1, Norway 0.
Now this will test the Norwegians.
We've had just over 10 minutes in which the signs were there before the joy was here for England. How much longer can Platt keep popping up with them?
As long as he can, says Graham Taylor.
His run is extended. 5 consecutive England goals, all to David Platt. 2 in Finland. You think back, the only goal in the European Championships, of course, the one here against Brazil, the finals got underway, and now, in the context of the World Cup, one of the heroes of Italia 90 for England, as we look towards USA 94. Batty. Batty's header. Gascoigne. Pratt's in the middle again. Gascoigne taking Pratt's on. 2 players both straining for fitness, both straining for the ball.
Well, if anything, Kane looked fitter as well, didn't he?
You'll need a rope to get him off.
Well, this is now, there's a spring in the step now of England players. There's suddenly new belief there. They're 1 up, the crowd are behind them. Another goal now would surely see them home.
Gascoigne's corner, Torsvett is nowhere! Oh, it's headed off the line by Micklin to stop Shearer making it 2-0.
Well, they've got to keep the tempo of the game up now, England. They've got to keep the pace up, not let the Norwegian side settle. Get it forward, play it properly, of course, but get it forward and put the defence under pressure. But Alan Shearer came oh so close there.
Erik Torsvett misjudged. But Eric Mikland, that's why they put players on the post. Otherwise, Shearer would be celebrating. There's not much of Mikland, as we've said before, but there was enough for Norway. Sørloth.
It doesn't have to be if you do that job properly, Martin, and he did it excellently.
Well, the vigorous start to the first half didn't produce the breakthrough, and England tailed away before half-time after that. But they've come out purposefully, and this time there has been reward. But with Ince and Batty peppering away at the goal, there was the feeling that Norway might not survive for much longer. Enter David Platt.
I was also thinking, Martin, at that time, what a difference a couple of yards has made to England. Stuart Pearce with the first attempt at the free kick. He hadn't a shot in his mind, he was looking to play the ball into the area. It moved a couple of yards and suddenly his eyes got bigger and he saw glory ahead of him and he drilled it towards that near post area. And David Platt got the touch. But this is the Alan Shearer one. I actually think it takes a touch after he heads it. Just there, the goalkeeper gets his hands on it, but Eric Mikland stops his team going 2 down.
Right. Here, now Batty. Gascoigne can turn. Pat had to bend his run to try and stay onside. Gascoigne was aware of that, used width instead. In from Dixon, out from the other number 2, Nielsen. Given the pain that Stuart Pearce has borne with great fortitude from the penalty shootout against Germany, appropriate that he should have a part in England's first goal of the new campaign. An hour gone. England 1, Norway 0. Mikland slips in. The sliding interception came from Walker, and Ince couldn't quite stop the whole of the ball crossing the line.
Well, now Norway settle themselves. They have a problem now. They've got to come out and try and get a goal.
Rekdal. Batty has been pretty controlled in his pursuit of the ball. Not on that occasion. The referee just pointed towards the top pocket as a warning, but has kept the card inside. Nielsen takes the free kick. Back to Haller, off the head of Pearce, and that's a corner. Now it's time for England to put the exultation of taking the lead out of their minds and concentrate on marking the right areas here, keeping the right opponents in their sights. That looked to push, but the referee has given nothing.
Looked to push to me too, but Tony Adams there, showing his concentration, wasn't going to be thwarted there. He was going to win the ball ahead of Rune Bratseth there.
It's another Norwegian corner. Ingebrigtsen to take this one. Bratseth, the usual target, but it's going to get nowhere near him. Bulleted away by Platt. Gascoigne, beautifully done, linking up with Wright. Still Gascoigne, Beggs in trouble, it's got to be kicked by Torsvedt. England were sensing more blood then. Less pressure on Woods, and very well delivered by the England goalkeeper. if you stand still, you're hard to pick up, really, and that's what Gascoigne's doing, and England are getting the ball to him. I don't think it's a deliberate policy, it's just tired. Batty's attempted cross, and then get only a throw. Gascoigne's on the move now. But when fully fit, he would have made a better attempt to try and keep the ball in play. He'll be going through Graham Taylor's mind, obviously now, what is best to do, given that England have got in front. But he's certainly a major figure in the influence in the second half, even though he's significantly beginning to slow down.
It's all about concentration at the back now for England. They've got the goal, they've played for an hour now, they're one up. They've just got to concentrate at the back, not make any silly mistakes, and you can see them actually going on and winning this game. I'm not so sure the Norwegians can produce a goal in normal play if England concentrate and don't make mistakes.
They have got in Leonardson, one of their substitutes, a midfield man with more of an eye for goal, who's played in his against San Marino. More forward-looking player from midfield. It may be that he will be introduced. There's only one more substitution, of course, available to Egil Olsen, with Berg on early in the match for the injured Pedersen. Ingebrigtsen, Batty, nursing all the life out of Norway again. Mikland. Ian Wright following back, and Mikland trying to bend the ball down the touchline, miscalculating.
And I think if he had a substitution in mind early in the second half, he certainly would have shelled it for the time being. Graham Taylor, they want the team just to settle now. You know, obviously Paul Gascoigne's the one we're all looking at. How's his legs, how's his tiredness, how are his lungs, is he holding his own in there? We won't want a mistake from Paul when he's tired to cost England.
Walker showing his prime asset, his speed. Bjørnebæk. Well, if England were to win here and Holland and Poland draw, it would be a good night all round. There's still plenty to be seen through here as Norway come again. Nielsen hit Dixon. Nielsen again. Well, there was no one wide then. England having to operate in narrow positions, but Shearer forced left by the direction of the ball released by Gascoigne. And he tries one. He's been scoring from that sort of range for Blackburn.
Well, he's certainly not going to get criticised for trying from that range, is he, when you see the goals he's produced already? But there's definitely some activity on the England bench now.
Paul Merson is the player that Graham Taylor is going to bring on, and one would assume that it is for Gascoigne, but we must wait and see. Right. Here's Shearer. He's made his own luck. England may make their change. And it's a board that we look at with great interest. It's going to be a corner. It's number 10 that's being held up, not number 8.
He's disappointed, isn't he, Ian Wright? You see that as he walks off.
He's very, very disappointed, not to say distraught. The team are in front. The chance is given that Norway have got to push out, that England might get other opportunity. But it's Merson for Wright. The Arsenal players shake hands as they cross. And the game will restart with a corner. Right in there again, and also Ince.
I think it was actually Stuart Pearce, wasn't it? They got his head on the ball. Paul Ince there. It was David Lyth, but he still managed to get his head to it when Eric Torsford's stretching for it. And they're obviously quite happy with Paul Gascoigne's fitness, Martin. That would suggest that taking off Ian Wright and bringing Paul Merson on as a straight swap.
Merson's chances of starting the game were limited by an injury that he had when the squad linked up at the end of last week. But Gascoigne's still going strong. Flat, Batty. Gascoigne again. Batty for Pearce. Ball waiting in the middle for England. As this private game goes on down the left-hand side, but there's purpose to it now. Merson! Hit the same part of the side netting as Bjørneby did in the first half for Norway.
But as soon as Stuart Pearce makes that run forward, defenders panic. Goalkeeper's always got it covered. Angles there, he knows it's gone wide and just leaves it. But that all down to Stuart Pearce. Basically his first real run into the penalty area.
Micklin. Now Bjørneby on the burst. Getting the better of Ince. Sherlock hoping for a cross. He might still get it. Jakobsen. Norway committed players into England's penalty area then, as they have to do, of course. That might suit the counter-attack as Kira links up with Batty. Merson, who brings a wide variety of options to England in the middle of the field, and literally wide as well. Well, there will be a great weight off the manager's shoulders if a win is achieved here. Some awkward moments for England, some suggestions that this might fade away, but now they're coming strong again with a goal already scored, and Platt looking for his own second.
Not promising again, looking for offside, the Norwegians didn't get it. David Platt opting for power rather than direction there, just couldn't keep control of the ball. Lee Dixon, who gets in behind them, he opts for strength across the goal rather than looking for someone. It arrives at David Platt, that's just off his shin.
Shearer. There's a look about England now, but Gascoigne is moving into pretty uncharted territory in terms of his comeback and the length of time he's operated in matches. But he radiates such belief that for that alone Taylor will want to keep him involved, perhaps.
Well, he is the one player there who can just produce a piece of magic, Paul Gascoigne, and just be a little player and produce a ball that might just open up Norway again, and I think that's probably why he's keeping him on there as long as possible. Looks shattered, but I think he's got plenty left in him.
He'll sleep well tonight.
He never sleeps, don't we? Sleep.
That two-man rule that blocked the earlier free kick allowed England to go in. Shearer!
Oh, that's a chance, Martin. Norway could have just packed up and gone home there. A man on his type of form, he'll know he should have done a lot better than this. It's a perfect delivery, it's on his head, he watches it all the way and just fails to produce it on the target. He hits the target here, it's a goal for sure.
Well, we've seen again the significance of the set pieces.
I think that's something that every team that plays against England has to work on an awful lot, because I know England put an awful lot of time into the set pieces.
Pearce trying to thread it down to Ince. Stopped by Gascoigne. He's found the second wind. Shearer, now he's got to try and support the strikers. Shearer's target was Merson in the end.
And Paul Gascoigne wasn't too happy. He was just looking for him to tuck it back into his run on the edge of the box.
What's he looking for? It's amazing that he's playing. It would be sensational if he scored. Selot.
The longer he's on, the better news it is for English football. In fact, the better news it is for football in general, isn't it?
Due to play at Wayne next Tuesday, and another match that we'll bring you live. That's Tottenham against Lazio. Oh, and it was a close one. Merson starting his run on the right-hand side, veering left, then through the centre.
Just didn't bend it enough, Martin. He's got to go towards the ball a little bit there. Had he done so, would have been onside.
Nicklin. He's got to be careful not to mistime the tackle through simply fatigue, having been booked in the first half.
Yeah, the referee's just in a little look at him, a little chat at him. I wonder if he's just warning him about that. It's important that he doesn't get himself into trouble now.
Well, he usually does that off the pitch. Here's Bratseth. Rekdal, two to the left for Norway. England mustn't be lulled into feeling that the job has been completed here. 15 minutes to go. Jakobsen. Strong work from Adams.
Well defended. Watched the ball very, very well there. Jakobsen wants defenders to commit themselves, and then he can go at them, but Tony Adams kept his eyes firmly on the ball in that situation.
Well, his character as captain of Arsenal has been shown so often, but here's Rekdal. It's a great try! Oh,
I don't believe it. What a strike that is. He's got no right to shoot from there on that ball, let alone score, Martin.
It's taken the wind out of England's sails. Kjetil Rekdal with a goal in a million.
Well, I said if England kept their concentration, I would see them only winning, but I didn't allow for a strike of this quality. What makes it difficult? Look at the way it bounces. It's a half volley, but not even a proper half volley. It's on when he connects with it, and that flies in the top corner. Quite an incredible strike.
Well, one of the great goals at Wembley in the World Cup, but it's come against England.
And they're making a substitution, Martin.
Nicklin is going off.
Well, you said he was the holding player, and he is that normally. But look at that. It's the control that he has over when he strikes it that's so impressive. And then Glenn Hoddle, I know, watching that in the studio, I know it's against England, but I'm sure even he would have admired that strike.
Well, this is an interesting change. It's certainly a change in size, because it's the giant Jostein Flo who comes on, who's a striker, to replace a midfield man. There's for the change than that. Selot has been asked to play a little bit deeper, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think, let's not get carried away, they're ambitious now. What they've done is they've said to Goran Selot, you're back in Eric Mikland's position in the midfield area, and Jostein Flo has been told to go up front on his own. But what should have really been a 15-minute cruise for England has now turned into a very nervy 15 minutes. Here it is again. Watch the way it comes off the ground. It's about a foot off the ground when he's had to hit it.
But he's done very well to still be involved. Here's Pearce.
Suddenly now the Norwegians could see a bit of glory staring them in the face. 9 minutes away from what would be considered a magnificent result for them. They've got an extra step in them now.
Pearce. Here's Batty. And again, plenty of life in him. Dixon. Lining up in the middle, and Gascoigne's too far forward and is adjudged offside.
Well, they're getting plenty of men in there, England. You've just got to keep it going now.
Well, you think back to Alan Shearer's header that was cleared off the line, it would have been 2-0. Well, the anxiety written all over the face of England manager. The effects of a draw, the analysis of it, would be perhaps difficult to make a straightforward judgment on. Andy, you've been talking about the importance of not losing now.
Well, I think it's vital. I mean, people are saying it's a game England must win. I've never believed that. It was important that they won, but I think it was the vital result was that they couldn't afford to get beat against this Norwegian side who had 6 points out of 6. And I still think England can win the game from the position they're in at the moment. And I think the Norwegians they're quite happy with what they've got now. And it's just a matter of England plugging away now for the next 7 minutes and seeing if something drops for them.
Ingebrigtsen. The shirt being pulled by Ince. Well, Norway, who have come into this match with a "we have no secrets" philosophy. They've been very open in their training, in contrast to England, incidentally. And they've been quite happy to tell anybody who listened that a draw would do them very indeed. And it looked, when England went in front, as though they might not have the resources to get that. But Rekdal really came up trumps. Now Ince. Jakobsen getting back to stop Dixon. And in fact it's a throw to Norway. A few more seconds go.
Well, they won't be in a hurry to take this. The referee's trying to get them to hurry along here and take throw-ins, and it may be that he considers they'll add some time here because they've been wasting it. There's no way you're going to get the Norway players running after the ball when it's their throw or their free kick. They try and use up as much of the clock as possible.
There's Gascoigne trying to play it through to Shearer, I think was his target. Clearance by Berg, and just over 5 minutes to go. Adams. Steered on by Shearer. Merson, who is of outstanding goals. He's got a real portfolio of them at Highbury.
They sent Tony Adams up, yeah. They sent Adams up there, Martin, yeah.
Adams gets to it. Brexit commanding there when Norway needed him. Walker. Ingebrigtsen hoping that will run. Torstvedt will make sure it does, despite the dogged determined lap. Well, Torstvedt's got happy Wembley memories. He played here in the FA Cup semi-final, Spurs beating Arsenal, of course. Great day for Gascoigne, that. A winner in the final itself against Nottingham Forest. And then he played subsequently in the Charity Shield, which was drawn. And it could be another draw for him here. 4 games at Wembley without defeat.
Well, there's plenty of time yet.
Gascoigne. That's skewed away by Adams, and England wanted something rather better than that. Haller. Now Berg. Sørloth. For Haller, and Norway looking for a little bit extra here. Ingebrigtsen. It's a goal kick. Ingebrigtsen immediately trying to get some air into his lungs to get back to his role in midfield. That's the way they've worked throughout.
Well, we always knew they were capable of doing that, didn't we?
Gascoigne's dummy, beautiful. Shearer. Tired legs now, and Bratset has some as well, and he settles for a throw. He's limping. They've really asked him above and beyond the call of duty to play in a game where his presence was so vital. Gascoigne for Pearce, and it's behind. A little disagreement between captain and Gascoigne then.
I think what Paul's problem a lot of the time is that he sees so many things. He's such a gifted player that the other players don't really see, Martin. And it's unfair at times when Paul's critical of other people.
But it was the challenge on Pearce again, characteristic of the way Norway had worked. Looking to see, looks like Lee Dixon who's the player down. Well, it's giving England the chance to just galvanise themselves if they can for one final effort.
What it has done as well, though, Mark, to be fair, it's allowed Rune Bratset in particular to get his troops, rally his troops. He's had them all together there, a little huddle, his midfield players and his defenders, as if to say, come on boys, one last push. And it looks as if England are going to take one last push. If Lee Dixon doesn't make it.
Palmer has taken part in all of the last 8 internationals with so many changes. That's quite an achievement. And he might have a part to play yet, though be it a small one here. Well, Rekdal is going to go home a hero. Egil Olsen will be hailed genius who sorted it all out tactically. But what for Graham Taylor? It's the performance really, Andy, that will be analysed if the match finishes level. How would you sum it up?
Well, it hasn't been a vintage England performance. They played a system that again has been a little bit unusual for them, and a system that they've been unused to. No real width in the side, and I think that hasn't helped them at times. But I mean, I have to strengthen again with you. It was the result was the most important thing for them tonight. Had they gotten beat, then that would have been nothing short of disaster for them. I mean, if the scoreline stays the same, they can at least go from here, because this group's going to be very, very tight.
And there are 2 countries to qualify, remember. Walker. Here's Pearce. Batty has really stuck to his guns in midfield. And when he's got hold of the ball, he's kept it simple, and his passing is undervalued. Batty again. Well, England hesitated, hoping for a free kick. Flo reversing it cleverly. It'll stay in play for Sørloth. Jakobsen alongside him.
That's all he's wanted, Goran Sørloth there. He knows he ain't going anywhere, he just wants somebody to come and tackle him and put it out.
Bjørneby with the throw. Free kick given against Flo.
Oh, they won't mind that, Mark. Free kick 95 yards from their own goal. They're quite happy to concede free kicks there. Back behind the ball now.
Launched by Chris Woods. He felt in the first half the referee could have played more injury time than he did. He's letting England go on here. Shearer.
Oh, that's magnificent defending, Martin. It really is.
Ingebrigtsen. He's gone down with cramp, and astonishingly the game is going on. But Jakobsen to toe in to that tackle to rather rescue the referee, I think. But England looked then, as they built the ball up beautifully, as though they might have fashioned something in stoppage time, but they've been held here in their opening World Cup qualifier. Graham Taylor greets the final whistle with a smile for Egil Olsen. Norway's nerve held against the combined efforts of the England team and the Wembley crowd. David Platt gave them the lead. Paul Gascoigne certainly justified his return, but the win that looked as though it would materialise ended through an outstanding goal, a moment of sheer quality that Gascoigne himself would have been proud of from Rekdal. England then unable to fully capitalise on the lift given by Gascoigne's inclusion against opponents who were always prepared to sit back and soak up pressure. There will be contrasting interpretations, I'm sure, of inability to win a home tie. Graham Taylor's critics will point out, I'm sure, that England's last 10 internationals now have produced only 2 victories. Others will see value in avoiding defeat. Norway, I'm absolutely sure, will be thrilled. They're going to their supporters. In the past, they've been whipping boys to previous England teams. In truth here, there were times in both halves where it seemed that England would get it right on a very big night. When the pressure was being mounted, the chances were created in the opening 20 minutes and not taken. Similar story in the early stage of the second half when Platt did score. But then along came Rekdal to ruin the chances of a win for Norway. 7 points out of 8. England with 1 out of 2. Turkey and San Marino here in November and February respectively. Well, we'll get a reaction now from the England camp, and Nick Collins has got Paul Gascoigne with him.
Well, Paul, first of all, on behalf of every English football fan, great to see you back at Wembley.
That's not the most important thing at the moment, I think, is the result. I mean, we kind of feel too downhearted. I think we battled well. We could have had 3 or 4 goals. I mean, the goal that beat us, well, you can't see anything about it, you know.
From a personal point of view, though, your performance must have given you a lot of satisfaction.
Well, I like to play with the team myself, and I can help that way. Also have a good game myself. I'm just sorry that we didn't win, but you know, it's the first game in the World Cup. Fantastic turnout, fantastic, and we've just got to turn them draws into wins.
Well, that's right. You said it's 10 games, not just 1, isn't it? So England's still very much on course for the World Cup.
Yeah, we're on course. I mean, we've got the next game to look forward to as well. There's another 9, and if as much effort as we did there, then hopefully we can qualify.
The fans really seem to enjoy it, a performance that brought a lot of pride back to English football.
Yeah, they enjoyed it. It's just disappointing that you can't argue about goals like that. Nobody can argue. You can't argue.
Paul, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Paul Gascoigne with Nick Collins. 1-1 then here. The next live football on Sky Sports, that's Super Sunday. Manchester United against Liverpool, 2 o'clock. Look forward to your company then. From all of us at Wembley, it's goodbye.